Welcome, everybody, to Two Best Friends Talk Pokemon. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason, also known as the Red Viking, and over here is my other co-host.
And I'm Chad, also known as Dragonheart Rising.
And this is episode 10. We have made it to the double digits!
Beautiful.
Yay!
Love it.
Now, triple digits will be next, but that won't be for, let's see here, almost 2 years.
Yes.
Quite a while from now. And once we hit that, though, that'll be a huge milestone. And that'll be pretty exciting.
Oh, for sure it will be.
But yeah, so without further ado, Chad, how was your week in gaming?
Well, the week's been pretty good. I am actually currently on the verge of finishing my Gen 1 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 4 different files going. There was one in red, one in blue, and then one in yellow on my one system. And then I have a second system that has yellow as well.
Okay.
And so I finished off the other 3, like besides my main one. And I am about 4 Pokemon away from finishing off the Pokedex, and then that'll conclude everything I need to do for Gen 1.
Wow.
And that's just awesome. So it took about, well, the 20th today, or 21st today.
Yeah.
So yeah, it basically took about this long in the year to get there, and I'm like, okay, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. That's just a month. Not even.
Yeah, and especially since I was getting sidetracked with other stuff too. Like, what day was it? Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I was watching one of my friends on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And so my whole idea was I'm going to be playing yellow, or actually, no, I was playing red at that time. And I was like, hey, I'm going to get all this stuff done and, finish off red. So then that way I can transfer stuff over to yellow, get her done.
Yeah.
And continue moving on. Since I was the last one I needed to do before doing my main yellow, get the Pokedex done there. And so I'm like, okay. And then while we're watching, someone was talking about ice sandwiches and Frigibacks, who is, of course, our Gen 9 pseudo-legendary.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you want a dragon sandwich for Frigibacks. And I'm like, I know dragon works because I've used it over there. And I'm like, I know you can get Dino and Gibble and Frigibacks in this one specific location.
Yeah.
And I was like, but with an ice sandwich, it should work too because he's also an ice type. And he's like, no, you want to just do dragon. And I'm like, oh, now I got to put this to the test. So stopped everything with Pokemon Red, fired up Scarlet, took a nice sandwich over there, and I was like, well, in half an hour, I found 10 Frigibacks. So it's possible.
There you go.
Not likely, still rare, but it's possible. And then found 2 shiny Snorunt while I was at it. So I was like, yeah, it was worth it.
Nice. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, speaking of awesome, I came across a new streamer just the other week. His name is Get Awesome Gaming. So that was, it's a good segue with the awesome thing. He is also a Pokemon Shiny Hunter. Small streamer though, averaging maybe like 5 to 10 viewers per stream. But really, really, really nice guy. I highly suggest checking him out at some point. If
for sure.
You, as well as, all listeners, are into shiny hunting, because he's really good at it too.
Oh, nice.
He knows like basically everything about it. So yeah, each day that he streams, he'll have on there like, I'm looking for what he did just a couple days ago is Houndour, right?
Okay.
So looking for the blue doggo, and then he finishes that one up. He's like, okay, let's move on to Ghastly, and I'm like, awesome, let's check it out. And yeah, it was fun. I was in his chat for a little while. But yeah. Just because he said awesome, you're talking about Pokemon, you're talking about shinies. I was like, hey, this guy.
Perfect segue. Love it.
Yeah, what else? What else is good?
Well, let's see here. Finishing that off, and then I'm debating on whether I will do any shiny hunting for Ditto in my German playthrough on Let's Go Pikachu.
Okay.
But my priority is going to be preparing for Greninja raids coming up next week.
Yes.
So that's going to be the first thing on my list. And if I don't have time for Ditto, that's okay, because that'll come up later anyway at some point. It's kind of my long-term hunt, because what I want to do is get a shiny 6 IV Ditto.
Oh, yeah.
And so I took about 200, 250, something like that, to get my first 6 perfect IV Ditto in that one. So to find a shiny one like that, I'm like, this is definitely a long-term hunt. And it's
Yeah.
something I'm hoping to have done by the time I finish like all the first 7 gens before I actually get up to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee in my list of gaming for the year. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just one where it's like, okay, I got maybe a weekend or just a day or something like that, and fire it up, go for it. And then if I don't close it out, then the total will just keep going, so that I can continue it over a period of several days or a week or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of on my long-term list, but I also want to get into Gen 2 relatively soon. So I'll probably be doing that. And then that'll be my only shiny hunt in any of the games until I think Gen 7.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it'll be shiny hunting for Celebi. So that will be fun.
Yes.
Because that'll be a 1 in 8,192 odds. And
Easy. Easy odds. Knowing your
easy.
luck, it'll be done in a weekend.
That would be nice. I mean, I have had some good luck with some legendaries, mostly Mewtwo,
Yeah.
from Let's Go, because I did it 3 times. One of them was in about 20. One of them was in 25. The other one was in about 250. So I was like, well, that's cool. But of course, that's with the shiny charm. So it's about 1,000. What is it? 1,300 something odds.
Not
And
bad at all.
yeah, so I'm like 250 to 1,300. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But yeah, we'll see. It'd be my first time shiny hunting something with the 1 in 8,000 odds. So
Mm-hmm.
see how that one goes. But yeah, but I mean, just getting to play through Johto again too is like, yeah, this is gonna be so much fun doing this game. And that's the main idea behind going through all the gens again, is just to go through the games again, enjoy them, do the full Pokedex, as a challenge. But it's just like, go enjoy them, have fun.
Yes.
There's some of the games I hadn't played through. Like, I played through maybe similar ones to it. Like, I played through Pokemon X, but I haven't done Y. And I've done what was it, White 2 and I think Black, but I hadn't done the other ones. So it's like I've done the main stories of the games, but not all the different versions with their exclusives and stuff like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's like going through all of them. Yeah, and it's been just so much fun. It really has been. So yeah, it'll be fun doing Gen 2 again,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see what happens. But at the same time, I'm also keeping an eye on Scarlet to see for the different raids, which is why Greninja's coming up, and that'll be my focus probably for later today, is to prep up a good Pokemon for it.
Right. Yeah, and it's nice that, a few weeks ago at this point, we were saying how they need to be, that they need to keep us in the loop a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
about, all the tear rates and everything. But I have come to find if you do look for it, they do post it. It just
Yeah,
might not be in front of someone's face, like in their timeline, for example. But if you do
yeah.
a quick Google search of, okay, what's going on, there's going to be either Pokemon.com, you could go to that. They do have things up there. Or if you want someone that I think is very reputable,
Mm-hmm.
go to Cerebi.
Cerebi is definitely the go-to place for me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
if
Civi's
you,
great. And
yeah.
hello, Cool Nights Gaming. How you doing? How you doing?
Oh, hey, man. Hope you're doing well.
But yeah,
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 with
Civi's great.
yeah, because like if you go to their main page, and what I did was I just bookmarked it, and so I go into the link and get onto the main page, and right there it has it updated with any updates for that day, and it's a great way to keep on track with it.
Yes. Yeah, he has a nice layout for it. It's not flashy. You don't see ads everywhere like you do on some websites. Most, actually, at
Yes.
this day and age. But yeah, yeah, I think he's really good. And Cold Knights
Mm-hmm.
Gaming, he is enjoying some. I was about to say Final Fantasy. No, Fire Emblem Engage. I just saw the app
Oh,
and I was like, yeah, okay, Final Fantasy. Yeah, and you know what? Speaking of Fire Emblem Engage, I was watching a couple of people yesterday playing that game. One guy in particular, he used to be a huge guy on cable TV. I'm talking the 90s, I think early 2000s of Electric Playground. There were
oh,
Canadian guys that had a video game show. I can't remember what channel it was on. Maybe it was like YTV or maybe it's like Much Music back in the day before it turned over to MTV.
mm-hmm.
But I see that he is now on Twitch. And I was like, dude, this guy's got to be like in his 50s now, maybe late 40s. Because he was definitely way older
Okay,
than us. You know, I was a kid and he has
yeah,
a TV show. So, yeah, Victor Lucas.
that's
One of like
so
the
cool.
grandfathers of, just gaming in Canada. Awesome guy. But yeah, so he's on Twitch now and he's playing Fire Emblem Engage. And he loved it. He was absolutely loving it. He was saying how great it was. I was like, oh man, stop trying to sell me on a game that costs like $80 Canadian. I don't like it. It's not enough money for my wallet. My wallet's already crying. But yeah, it's really cool to come across it. So good to
So
hear
cool.
that you're enjoying Fire Emblem Engage there, Cool Knights Gaming. And if
Mm-hmm.
guys do not know Cool Knights Gaming, he is another podcaster. He's got his YouTube, which would be youtube.com/Cold Knights Gaming. Great guy, really nice, and big time Nintendo Switch nerd. I'll put it that way.
Yes, yes, so
Which is
awesome.
perfect. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I'll switch over to me unless you got a couple more things to say about your week in gaming.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay,
Go for
okay.
it.
So yeah, my week in gaming, I got to be talking about Final Fantasy earlier. It's playing Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. So this was the old school PSP game that I never played because I never owned a PSP. And it got a remake done, so it's on all the modern platforms. I think it's on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation,
Mm.
Xbox, PC, everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. So I beat it. I already knew going in, and I'm kind of disappointed that I knew the ending because the ending should have hit me pretty hard, but it didn't because I knew what was going to happen. But the game,
Mm.
I loved it, even though it had one foot in the past and another foot in the present. I thought that overall is a great game. I like how you grind in the game because you just go to your save spot, and it's that kind of old school kind of JRPG where you actually have to go to a save spot in order to save the game, and
Okay.
also in order to do all the missions. And the missions, oh buddy, there must be like hundreds, probably over 100 of them
Oh
that you
wow.
could do in the game. And they start at 1 star and they go all the way up to 10. And in order to beat the game, I beat it at level 50. I think you
Mm-hmm.
could be, say, at like level 40 or something like that in order to beat the game. But it was just altogether, it's a fun game. It's an action RPG. When you're on the overworld map, once you, no, you don't even touch an enemy. You'll just be walking around and bam, they'll show up. You fight them. So it's constantly like enter battle screen, exit the battle screen. But the game has been really well done. It's not like 2 to 3 seconds, as you may remember from like some Tales games,
Right.
where you touch the enemy, then the screen kind of cracks, pauses for a second, and then bam, there you go. The battle starts. And it's always like your console's loading in that battle, right? This one you didn't
Yep.
have that, but overall, good game was good. I love the protagonist because I swear he was like the first like ADHD kind of dude. And
Right.
throughout the story, he actually ages by about like 5 years, 5 or 6 years. So you get him at like his goofy young self stage early on in the game, and by the end of it, he is like oozing confidence, as well as like his haircut changes, all this kind of stuff, right? I just thought it was really cool because you don't have a lot of games that really do the whole aging process as you're playing it. Some of them do it. Some of them, heck, you'll like get married and have kids, and then play as the kids later on. But yeah, it was a good game. So finish that one up, which I'm happy about because I'm excited for Forspoken, which is coming out on the 24th, which we'll talk about that one a little bit later. But that was about it. I started playing some Hearthstone because I had a new update for Battlegrounds. So they got a new season, they got new minions that you can play around with, as well as the new minion type in Battlegrounds. So yeah, it was cool. Like nice little breath of fresh air. But yeah, I would say that's about it. It was mostly just Final Fantasy and really enjoying that game. And now I know a lot more about Final Fantasy VII and their universe before Final Fantasy VII Part 2. I can't remember what it's called, or if it even has a name right now, but I know they got Part 2 that's rumored it might be out at the end of this year, or it might be 2024. We'll see, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it already. But yeah, we have some news in the whole world of video games this week. We actually had a couple different things. I'm going to start out with the PlayStation VR2. So for those of you that don't know, there is a PlayStation VR2 coming out. It's going to be available on the PlayStation 5. So if you have the money for it, you have one of those already, and you like VR, go ahead, check this out. It's not going to be cheap for you. Just saying straight up, it's not cheap. But if you got some money to burn because, you are, I don't know, who's someone that's really rich these days? Should we go after Bezos again, or should we go with somebody else? Bill Gates?
Sure. Let's go after Gates.
Okay, so if you got money like Bill Gates here, you don't care. A few $100 doesn't matter. You already got probably 20 PlayStation 5s in your massive mansion of a house. Well, the update for this week was they have officially shown off / announced every single PlayStation VR launch window game. So this is not just everything that's coming out day one, but it's the launch window. So that could be like upwards of a month or maybe 2. But they're going to have more than 30 games starting February 22nd. So that's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. The big thing with PSVR2 is it is not backwards compatible. So if you own the PlayStation VR, unfortunately, your library that you have with that is not transferable over to the VR2. However, there are some games that are going to be free updates, if you want to call it that. So it's not quite the end of the world. And they are offering, if you own Gran Turismo 7, there's going to be a free VR update where you will actually be able to play pretty much every single racetrack there is in Gran Turismo 7 in VR. So that's good. I think that's actually... Oh, cool, nice game for $6 billion. Yeah, $6 billion. Bill Gates doesn't care. He's got money to burn. I mean, if he wants to spend his entire fortune before he dies, he's got to get some PSVR 2s.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so let's see here. Do we have a nice list for this? The PlayStation blog doesn't really have a nice list for this. I'm actually really disappointed. But you know what? 1 second. I'm actually going to see here. I'm just going to go and enjoy my scroll wheel. So there's a bunch of games that are kind of like filler sort of games. So think back to, I always use the Wii as my example because they had so much shovelware. But yes, there is definitely shovelware when it comes to the VR space. So they got a game called Before Your Eyes where you get to embark on an emotional and award-winning adventure where you control the story and affect its outcomes with your real-life blinks. So, in this... Yeah, blinking, as in like you blink your eyes. In this unique VR experience, you will fully immerse yourself in a world of memories, both joyous and heartbreaking, as your whole life flashes before your eyes. The game uses the PlayStation VR2 headset's front-facing camera to immerse you in a way you've never experienced before. You will learn to control the flow of the narrative with your actual eyes, blinking through precious memories of family, first love, and the rise of an artistic career, ultimately revealing a heartbreaking truth. Seems kind of cool. So,
Yeah.
the thing with the PSVR2 is it is, like I said, very expensive. It's not backwards compatible, which Cool Nice Gaming is saying that's the worst peripheral ever released. It does suck.
Mhm.
It is absolutely awful. I wish it wasn't that way. But unfortunately, it is. It is like a cutting edge technology when it comes to VR. You have like really good refresh rate. Each, because it has like two little cameras, right? Or two little screens. Sorry, that should be saying
Mhm.
one for each eye. Both of those are almost 4K on their own. So you're looking at like a really, really, really high visual fidelity, which they say should help out with people that have motion sickness when it comes to playing some VR titles.
Oh, cool.
However, that's yet to be seen because they always say the best things in the world, but how is it in real life?
Right.
Let's move on. You got a kayak VR. I think that one kind of makes sense. You are, and this is a good thing, actually. I'll put it this way. It's a good thing when a title for a game tells you exactly what you're playing.
Yes.
You get to be on a kayak and go around the Antarctica, Costa Rica, ooh, Norway as well,
Ooh.
Australia. So a bunch of different locations. Kind of cool. If the thing was like $10 or something, I might check it out because I myself actually enjoy kayaking in real life, but I've never been
Mm.
to Antarctica, Costa Rica, Norway, or Australia. And that costs way too much money to do in real life. So if I could do it for cheap and still enjoy the experience, I might actually do that. It might be like a really relaxing game to play.
Yeah.
Pavlov VR, which is a shooter game. So I just kind of skip over those because I'm not a big shooter fan, unless it's Doom or Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Those are cool, but yeah, go around, shoot things. It's cool. Puzzling Places, another very good title. You know that you are getting a 3D jigsaw puzzle game in VR. So that's kind of neat.
Mhm.
Like I said, a lot of shovelware. But there's going to be some pretty heavy hitters here coming up. Sun in the Smoke Rekindled. It's the ultimate VR survival action adventure, a physical immersive game where you craft, hunt, survive in a fantastic and dangerous world. Fully remastered with supercharged graphics. I love that. Supercharged. Gameplay
Love
that
it.
takes advantage of the PlayStation VR2 Sense controllers and haptics in an all new free jump and clamber mode, completely unique to PlayStation VR2. Now, I just want to pause there for a second and say this is interesting because is PlayStation VR2, is their big thing going to be we have modes that are completely just, we paid a lot of money to get this specifically for our thing, and this is why you need to play the PlayStation VR2 as opposed to other cheaper VR alternatives like the Meta Quest or whatever, because there's a whole bunch of different things out there. So
Mhm.
why should I put my money to a PSVR2, which is actually on in the upper echelon of expensive VR kits? Yeah, exactly. Cool,
Mm.
nice game. Now you're playing with power. Uh, so you'll challenge a savage world filled with strange beasts who are both prey and predator. You can craft melee. Basically, yeah, it is a survival action adventure, so it might be a nice little getaway for people. I'm still looking for a huge AAA RPG. We have Skyrim in VR, which
Yeah.
it is Skyrim in VR. But I didn't really like the whole moving thing where they'll be like, you got points and then click your thing, and then all of a sudden you're teleported over to wherever you're going. It felt very much not like I was fully immersed in Skyrim,
Mhm.
which is what I was
Mhm.
wanting. But let's go on to another one, Synth Riders Remastered. It is a boy, when I have to like scan this to figure out what the game even is, that's not good. Haptics as you Ride the Rails headset feedback for in-game obstacle feedback. Yeah, this is... Oh, SSD optimization to dramatically reduce load times. This seems like a very blah sort of thing. Now, I'm going to skip over it because the next one was available on the PlayStation VR, and it was one of the games that I played the most in VR, and that is Thumper. If you haven't played Thumper, it's available on the Nintendo Switch. It's available on PC. I think it's available everywhere at this point. It is a really good game. I believe I actually had you, Chad, play it, because I know that you played the PSVR when you came over a couple of times.
Yep.
So you are a space beetle. It's a rhythm action kind of game. Has some... Dude, if you got like a good headphone set while you're playing this in VR, you'll be fully immersed because the music is just amazing. So, as it says here, the gameplay is fiendishly simple. You have tight controls, classic action, breakneck speed. It is combined with psychedelic visuals, a throbbing soundtrack, and adrenalizing boss battles. It's pure rhythm violence. So think of an on-rails rhythm sort of game that is very metal, kind of goth-like. And then add in a little bit of that psychedelic sort of flair, and you have Thumper. It is a very addicting sort of game. It has leaderboards. It had online ones. I don't know if they still exist or not because it has been quite a few years. But great game. Absolutely great game. I bought it pretty much when it released, I think. And at the time, it was maybe $20. I think nowadays you could probably get it on sale for just a few dollars. Highly, highly, highly recommend that game. NFL Pro Era seems like something kind of dumb. It is the NFL, though. So if you're huge into that, that's something. But, man. What the Bat? A whimsical slapstick comedy from the people behind the anti-golfing game, What the Golf. That would say golf a lot right there. That's not okay. What the Bat challenges you to live as a modern-day Batgirl, shooting, cooking, smashing, swinging, parking, painting, pickling, and even petting, there's a dog. Experience fully immersive silliness in a first-person experience like no other. I have no idea what this is, but it sounds like if you want to have a party, go for it.
Yeah.
I have no idea. What the Bat? It's kind of like, yeah, what the heck is this? Oh, Res Infinite is going to be coming out on PSVR2. That is an old school game at this point, but really, really good classic sort of game. Everyone at this point should know what Res is, and it is coming out. What did they say here? It'll be available for $10 US when it comes out. There you go. If you like Res, that's worth it. $10 is $10. Tetris Effect Connected. I also have that one. Very good Tetris game. If you're a fan of Tetris, grab it. Another one of these things. So what they're doing, the $10 I said before, it says owners of the original PSVR game will be able to upgrade to the PSVR version or the PSVR 2 version for $10. So it's an upgrade fee. They're not doing it for free. Not all of them, anyway. But they do at least offer, like, here's a couple bucks, you could play it again. So it's something. And for Tetris, I would definitely pay that. I mean, yeah. I play it off and on all the time. Creed Rise to Glory. That is I think that's just a boxing game, right? But yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Last Clockwinder. So that's a puzzle automation game about making synchronized contraptions out of your own clones. You play as Jules, the young woman on a mission to repair the clock tower, an ancient haven for the galaxy's planets and seas that's fallen into disrepair. Use the Clockwinder's gloves to turn everything you do into a perfectly looping clockwork clone. Create an interconnected system of clones to grow plants, harvest resources, and synthesize new seeds. You can coordinate your clones to create marvels of precision, teamwork, harebrained Rube Goldberg machines, or a troupe of synchronized dancers. So to that, I say interesting.
Yeah, right?
That's the thing. You know what? There's definitely going to be niche out there for that. It's not for me, but it's something. So, that was a few of them. Now I'm going to go down because now they just go down to a straight up list. The big ones, in my opinion, Gran Turismo 7, free update to the PS5 version of GT7. That's good. Horizon Call of the Mountain. So you get Horizon, which is a very good. I played on the PS4, and I know that they have a new Horizon on PlayStation 5. I haven't played that. But Call of the Mountain is Horizon. It's in VR. So that's good that they're putting a major PlayStation exclusive IP onto VR2. That goes to show that they're trying, for now anyway.
Yeah.
I'm still saying if it doesn't sell well, it's going to be dead. But they do have one thing that might be really cool. And this is the reason why a lot of people played or got the original PlayStation VR. And that was for Resident Evil 7.
Right.
So what they're going to be doing is they're going to be having Resident Evil Village have a VR mode. So all the horror fans out there, that one's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
However, it's still like over $500, so it depends. If you're Bill Gates, though, you don't care. Now, there's one other one. I'm trying to find it here. Moss 1 and 2 Remaster will be coming out. Moss is really cool. They got Star Wars game coming out, which is alright. We'll see how good that is. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution. That is a big title name. But that's also going to be in the launch window. Now, where the heck is the other one? There's Switchback. That was the name of it. I'm trying to find what's the actual name. The Dark Pictures Switchback. The Dark Pictures. I really like the Dark Pictures anthology. I thought they were pretty good. They were cheap. You know, if you get them on sale, they're really, really cheap, actually. But the Dark Pictures Switchback, think of that horror genre, or the IP, I should say. Put that into VR. It should be a really good time. Really good time. They had something like this on the PlayStation VR. It was Until Dawn. Shoot. Can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But it's basically you're on this roller coaster that is absolutely evil and possessed. And you have like your little guns. And it's just like those old school on rails arcade games. You know, where you're playing with your friend. You got the little light guns, right? You're shooting around and everything, getting your high score. That's what this is supposed to be. So I'm excited for that. Cool. So Dark Pictures, Switchback. It's another one to be hyped about. So that one, Resident Evil Village. Those are two really, really good horror games. But is it enough to buy it? Well, if you're Bill Gates, you don't care. But if you're anybody like me or Chad, you're like, I don't know, bro. That costs as much as a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Not cool. And we don't have like our major, huge like JRPG to play. So we shall see. But it is coming out pretty soon. It's just next month. Like it says, starting February 22nd. So surprisingly coming out really soon.
Yeah, that's coming up fast.
Yeah. All right. Now for our next one, what do you think? Should we go over Sky Oblivion?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So, for those of you that have just recently come across my channel, as well as chats in my podcast here, you may not know it, but I used to stream Skyrim with mods pretty much exclusively all the time on my Twitch channel.
Yes.
Yeah, I did it for, a couple years. It was great. I loved it. But, you know, after a couple of years of playing Skyrim again and again and again and pushing my computer to the absolute max, I got kind of bored of it, fell away. But I knew about a project called Sky Oblivion, which is Oblivion, but in the Skyrim engine. So basically just modernize Oblivion. And this has been a passion project of a few, it's going to call them moderators, but no. Of, what would you call them, I guess? Just like developers, right?
Developers, yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a passion project. They are releasing it for free. They got a window, which is way better than they've had. And they've been working on this, guys, since like 2012. So this has been a very long time coming. They released a trailer earlier this week saying releasing 2025. So we got release date. It is still 2 years away. We have just under 2023. 2025, it could be winter 2025. Who knows? I'll be so hyped if it actually releases sooner than that, but I'm not going to hold my breath. But
yeah,
hey, 2 years from now, not bad. So, a couple things I want to go over with Sky Oblivion in case you are one of those people like me that likes to play Skyrim and play with mods because way more replayability that way. Sky Oblivion will be 100% free, but in order to play, you require both Skyrim and Oblivion, including the DLCs. Otherwise, it's not going to work. But anybody in this day and age should have both of those on PC. And if you don't, yeah, just buy them. Just buy them. They're super cheap. So, I'm just going to go over a couple things here in the FAQ, the FAQ, whatever you want to call it.
What the fuck?
Exactly. Just like, what the bat? Still, hey, at least that title, it sticks in your head.
Right?
Even if you have no intention of ever playing that game, hey, it's there. So, what is Sky Oblivion? Sky Oblivion is a fan-made recreation of the fourth Elder Scrolls game, Oblivion, in the Skyrim engine. Their goal is to bring the Elder Scrolls community a free remaster of Oblivion that includes all weapons, armors, quests, locations, and NPCs. All of this free of charge.
Nice.
So, what's included in the mod? The mod will include all big and small DLC that was released for Oblivion. Additionally, it will include custom content courtesy of the Sky Oblivion development team. So I think that says it right there. Now, actually, one more thing I will include, though, is will it be on both Skyrim and Skyrim Special Edition? Which they said maybe. All development and updates shown by the devs are on the Skyrim Special Edition, but as soon as development wraps up, we will try to port all our progress to the legacy Skyrim. And it will not be released on consoles due to the overall size.
Right.
Also, there's no SKSE on consoles, which they need in order to bring everyone the best possible experience. It'll include underwater combats. The lockpicking will probably be more like Skyrim. All creatures from Oblivion will be in the game. Oblivion's spell-making system has been really tough for them to do, but they are trying to do it. What else is there that's actually important? Will you be able to travel between Skyrim, Cyrodiil, and Morrowind? They said yes, but for immersion reasons. We urge people to create new characters and enjoy Sky Oblivion the way it's meant to be played, which is Oblivion. Cool Nights Game just swing by. Have a lovely day, guys. Thank you so much, Cool Nights Game, for stopping by. Love you, man.
Take care, man.
Sky Oblivion will include all original quests, including a few new ones. Any custom content? Yes, we are restoring content cut from the original game. Additionally, we are also going to be adding content that can be found in Tamriel's expansive lore. A good example would be the lost city of Such, which was located between Anvil and Kvatch. Good news, it's back, baby!
Nice.
They accept donations. They have a Discord that you can follow them. It is pretty cool. And that's why I was hyped about it. I was like, dude, you could have both Oblivion, you could have Skyrim, all of it all together in one happy video game. And, obviously you could, transport your character back and forth, right? So I thought this was amazing. I think I did get into, one of the really early access builds of it, and it was not bad, but it was not something where you want to be streaming and doing it at the same time.
Yep.
Because it was just not optimized at all. But this is really cool. It's coming along. It'll be done in a couple of years, and it's already been a decade, so very, very, very cool.
Very cool, yeah.
I think the last news story that I got here for us is games coming out this week.
All right.
So let me scroll for a little bit. And because now we're getting towards the end of January, so each one of these like games come out this week are all sorted by the day of the month, so gotta go down low. Anyways. For games coming out this week, we finally are starting to get the big boy games. We got Forspoken coming out on Tuesday. It is going to be a new IP made by Square Enix that is going to be exclusive to PlayStation 5 as well as PC, but console exclusive, right? Forspoken is like an open world RPG game where you get to control a female protagonist that is in modern day normal world that somehow gets transported to this fantastical sort of world, and she has to figure stuff out. She knows magic, which is cool. And the cool thing about this game is all you use is magic. There's no hand-to-hand melee combat. You don't get like a sword or an axe or anything like that and attack that way. Everything is all magic.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it seems pretty cool. It's different if you want to be a mage and you don't care about any other builds. This is a good game to play. And it's a Square Enix game, so you know that it should be pretty good. What else do we got? If you're a fan of the Neptunia series, I see it all the time. I never got into it, but they have a new game coming out. Another RPG. Much more like a Japanese role-playing game. But Neptunia Sisters vs. Sisters is coming out on PlayStation 4, 5, and PC. Another RPG. This is like a week of RPGs here. It's a game called Risen. It's coming out on Xbox One, PlayStation 4. The Nintendo Switch is going to get Risen.
Sweet.
This one scored at 8.6, actually. And apparently was released all the way back in 2009. What the heck? On PC, probably. Okay, so it's coming out on consoles in 2023. So, don't expect a cutting-edge new kind of thing, but hey, it's there. It's a thing.
Exactly.
If you're a fan of Hitman, they are releasing something called Hitman World of Assassination, which is just a compilation of all three of the new Hitman games. So in one nice cohesive package. So it includes Hitman 1 and 2 for free for existing owners. And it's going to replace the Hitman 3 digital storefront thing. So when you purchase that, you're going to get the other two for free. So not a bad deal.
Yeah, not bad at all.
What else? One of the RPG simulations that Nintendo showed off in their last Direct is coming out. Is Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. So, you know, your farming simulator things, right? If you like the Harvest Moon, then Story of Seasons, you know, that's pretty cool. That is coming out on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and PlayStation 5.
Nice.
Yeah. I never really got into the farming sim games, but there are definitely people out there that like them, because on that Direct, I swear they showed off like 3 or 4 different farming simulator games. And I was like, goodness gracious. If you're a fan of the old school IP Wonder Boy, you must be so excited for the Anniversary Collection. In this one, you get Wonder Boy, Revenge of Drankon, which is also Wonder Boy, and then I keep saying Wonder Boy all the time. Wonder Boy in Monsterland. All the different ones. So, summary. Here we go. Wonder Boy celebrates its 35th anniversary with the Wonder Boy collection, featuring 21 versions of 6 of the most iconic Wonder Boy games ever released. This is why I'm seeing the same thing 3 times. So you're getting, for example, the OG Wonder Boy is on the Master System. And then you also get Wonder Boy, the Game Gear version. And then you get another version from the Game Gear, but it's the Japanese version, as opposed to the international/Western version.
Oh, okay.
So that's how they're doing it. I don't know what kind of differences there are. aside from just the fact that it's in Japanese as opposed to being in English. But there you go. 35 years of Wonder Boy. I knew it's an old IP, but I didn't know it's that old.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we got a Friday release. For all the horror fans out there, Dead Space. It's coming out on the Xbox Series X and S, the PlayStation 5, and the PC. So, return to face unknown horrors with Dead Space, a next-gen reimagining of the classic survival horror action game. Really funny that they used the word classic because we just talked about 35-year-old game. That IP I would say is classic. This one released on, I believe it was the 360 and the PlayStation 3.
Okay.
So I would give it like, it'd be over 10 years old at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a decade ago, but not 3 decades ago. But this one is not like an emulation version, which the Wonder Boy Anniversary Collection is. This is a remake of that old school game. So that's your big Friday release. They got like some visual novels and wow, this one has a lot of titles to it. So this is called Wonderland Nights White Rabbit's Diary. It is an adventure, casual, indie, RPG, simulation, and strategy game. I don't know how they did it. That's a lot of stuff I'll put into one.
Yeah, no kidding.
It looks absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so the summary for this one is: play as the White Rabbit in a schedule-based visual novel game. So it's also a visual novel set in the world of Alice in Wonderland. It's coming out on PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5 as well, and PC. They really need to fix that whole platform thing. Because, you know, if it's on the PS5, it's also backwards compatible on the PS4. Or you could say it's on the PS4. But you can play it anyways on your PlayStation 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It's just almost redundant. Unless it's actually a different version, but this is a visual novel. So, graphics are not a thing.
Right.
But, yeah, adventure, casual, indie, RPG, simulation, and strategy is the most tags out of any of these. And they forgot to put visual novel on there. Because it's that too. Anyways, that is it for what I think is interesting. I just wanted to include that one, even though I, no interest in buying that. But that's okay. Because there's only so much time you have anyway for playing all these RPGs.
Exactly.
First thing I hear, that is it. Damn it, not again. Yeah, 48 minutes late. We are about 3/4 of the way through the show, I would say.
You
just missed me talking about the PlayStation VR2 and Bill Gates, but that's okay. Let's see here. So we finish up games out this week. Chad, I'm going to throw this over to you because I've talked long enough. I want to drink my hot chocolate here. That's now cold chocolate.
Oh.
Talk more about what we can expect from Pocket Monsters
Inc.
Yes, Incorporated.
Yes. So this Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, the Greninja raids are going to start appearing. And so if you're playing the game and you're like, hey, I really want to do these raids, all you got to make sure is that you've done the post game. And so that basically means you've done the 3 main storylines, then you've done the 4th storyline, which unlocks after beating all 3 of the first ones. And then you've, after that, then you got to beat all the gym leaders again. I think there was something else. I can't remember if it's been a little while since I've done it. But anyway, there's an 8th tournament that happens shortly after. Once you've done that, then the 5-star raids will unlock. And once you've done 10 of those, then the 6-star raids unlock. Once you have 6-star raids, you can do 7 as well. So that's how you unlock them. And this time around, so we've already had Charizard, which was the first one. We had Cinderace, which we just finished off a couple weeks ago. And this time it's Greninja. And so it's fun because talking with different people from the Pokemon community, we've been trying to look at who would be really, really good to go against Greninja. And interestingly, one of them that came up was Slowking. And I could see it in one way in that it's a psychic type. It could hit pretty hard because the Terra type for Greninja is poison. But here's the problem. Greninja is a water dark type, and dark kind of owns psychic types. So I'm not sure exactly how well Slowking will survive in these raids, even though its special defense is pretty good. Um, so that one I would take with a little caution, but I do have two that I'm going to be looking at and training up and seeing if they will work all right. One of them is Gastrodon, who is a water ground type and has an ability called Storm Drain, which basically has it absorb any water type moves that are used, which of course you want to be keeping an eye on for Greninja, who water dark type, of course, and has decent defensive stats. Be interesting to try to make it a lot more powerful offensively. So that's kind of like one I'd be looking at, but not sure for sure yet. But one that's looking much better is Clodsire, who is the evolved form of the Paldean form of Wooper. And he's a poison ground type. And you might be thinking, wait, a poison ground type would be weak against water. But he has an ability called Water Absorb, which, if hit by a water type, will actually heal him by a quarter of his health, which is very, very handy against a water type, just in case you were wondering. So basically what he would do is he'd be able to fully absorb water. Poison, which is the terror type, will be basically four times ineffective, as poison and ground are strong against poison. And you won't have to worry about being poisoned because as a poison type, it won't get poisoned. And he's got a very good move called Earthquake, which will hit Greninja pretty stinking hard. So, yeah, those are the two I'm looking at. You got Clodsire and Gastrodon. And, of course, if you can partner up with three others and work a nice strategy together, all the better. For me, I always love looking at any Pokemon that could take on the raid by itself, because then I do it 4 times for each of my profiles. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. If you're looking to prepare ahead of time, like I said, you're going against a water dark type who will have a poison terror type. So there's very limited options that'll work. But for me, I'm going to look at Clodsire and Gastrodon. And if you're kind of like, well, I don't want to put all that effort into, raising up a Pokemon and then finding out, oh, it's not going to work, you could wait until a little later on Thursday evening, because within about 2 to 3 hours, I'm going to guess Austin John Plays is going to have a guide out on who would work. He was very, very quick on the Cinderace raids. I was quite impressed with that, actually. And so, yeah, if you want to wait until the raids go, remember that it starts at Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific. It'll end Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific. So you do have a few days. So if you want to wait it out, see different Pokemon YouTubers who are doing them and different strategies that would be working, by all means, you do it the way that you want to do it. Have fun with it, and good luck getting those 7-star Greninjas in your team. So yeah, that's basically what's happening for this weekend. And if for any reason you aren't able to finish it this weekend, I believe it'll be in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks from, well, it'll be 3 weeks from now, but 2 weeks from then, where they will be appearing again. So you won't have to worry too much about that. I know I did what I did last time with Cinderace actually was the first set of raids. I did it on my main profile and got it done. And then I waited until the second go around where I did it with the rest of my profiles. So like I said, you can do it pretty much any way you want. If you want to wait it out and work on some strategies, go for it. If you can't get it the first time, the second time will be coming up in about 2 weeks later. So yeah, best of luck to you. Have fun with that. And I'm looking forward to get Greninja on my team.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. In fact, Natsu Vega also said that they're going to try out Clogsire.
Perfect. Yeah, I think Clodsire is going to be the go-to. Because like I said, Gastrodon is a good possibility, but I think Clodsire is going to be the number one.
Yeah. And if that doesn't work for some weird reason, we do have Austin John that will tell us what to do.
Exactly. Just like I said, we'll make sure with Clodsire he's got Water Absorb.
Yeah.
Because I think you can get a different ability. I think Poison Point is his other ability. But yeah, if you can get Water Absorb on him by using an ability patch, I'm pretty sure it's a regular ability, not a hidden ability. So it'd actually be ability capsule if you don't have it, which are a little easier to get.
Just a tad bit, yeah.
Just a tad bit, a little bit expensive, but at least they're there.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So that is the stuff to check out. And then we are just a few weeks away from Tales of Symphonia coming out, which I'm just starting to get so excited for that now.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Can't wait to play as Lloyd again and listen to him complain about everything and how school is boring.
You know what's fun? Okay, I was thinking about this earlier because there was this one little scene that you get if okay, so when you're getting the summon spirits, you throughout the storyline you get one of them before you head over to Tetheala.
Yep.
And there's two other summon spirits that you could get if you do them before you head to Tetheala for the first time. Because there's Undine, who you get as part of the story.
Yeah.
And then there's Ifrit and Sylph.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you could get them before you even go there. Which is one way. If you don't want to do that, then that's okay, because then later on in the story you'll go back and get them, and they'll be a little stronger, obviously, because you're later in the game. And it can be a bit of a tough challenge to do it on the first go around, but it's so worth it. When when you get Ifrit, Lloyd is of course talking about summon spirits, and he's so fascinated with it. And
yes,
shortly after he's kind of like, "Oh, is this it? Like, it's just the same thing over and over again. You keep saying the same thing." He's like, "Wouldn't it be cool if when you summon him, he goes like, burn into oblivion,' or something like that?"
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I relate to it so well.
Every time I do the playthrough, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get Sylph just because, but I have to get Ifrit on that first go around just to hear that. It is so epic.
Yes, definitely cool. Yeah, I can't wait for it, man. It's gonna be such a good time.
Oh yeah, such a good game.
Yes,
so good.
So Chad, was there anything else you're thinking of covering right now, or what are you thinking?
Well, I was kind of doing two things at once during this podcast. Obviously the podcast itself, and then I finished off Pokemon Yellow. So I have the full Pokedex now, which concludes Gen 1. It is done.
It is done.
And Arbok was my last one.
Wow. That's so random.
I know, right? I mean, he is exclusive to Blue.
Yes.
So I had to trade him over.
Yeah.
But then I just went through the list and I'm like, well, you got all the Team Rocket Pokemon I got to get, like Meowth, Coughing, and Ekans. Yeah. And then Weedle. Weedle was the other one. And I already traded over Jinx and Electabuzz and Magmar. And so I was like, cool. Arbok is my last one.
There you
Not
go.
bad enough.
It's done.
It is done. Gen 1 is done.
Finally. And you got the Mew as well. You got all 151. This is good.
Definitely not.
Are you joking? All you have to do is go push that truck, man. He's right underneath it.
Yeah, right, eh? It is funny because there is a way to get Mew, but it's a glitch.
Yes.
And I've done it before, but I was like, this is a main thing, like a main playthrough I'm doing and going from one to the other. I'm like, I'm not doing any glitches or crazy cheats or anything like that. This is going to be purely legit.
That's good.
So it's 150 out of 150 this time. And it's staying that way.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, Chad isn't doing this like through a ROM or anything, so he can't do like, increase the speed of the game so he could beat it faster. It's
Yeah.
purely old school way.
Old school.
Yes.
Like me.
Oh, come on, you're only 13. Stop saying you're old. You're fine.
I'm only 13-ish.
There's a 3 in there somewhere.
It is true.
Yeah.
The one passed a little while ago.
Yeah, a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, I would say that's about it for today.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in and watching the live version of this podcast of Two Best Friends Talk Video Games. This has been episode 10. My name is Jason, also known as the Red Viking. You can catch me here on Twitch, where normally I am playing RPGs, horror games, whatever I fancy at the time. And over here is my co-host.
And I'm Chad, also known as Dragonheart Rising, and you'll see me prowling around different YouTube channels and stuff like that because I don't do any of my own particulars, but I do post different stuff. So if you want to check that out as well, I am DH_rising on not Twitch, Twitter. And
yes.
Twitter. Get that one right. But other than that, yeah, I'm here.
Perfect.
So, yeah, it was good seeing you guys here, and glad you joined us, and I'm glad you've been watching this podcast or listening to it.